welcome back to another Danny Fandom review. Today we're talking about the episode Beauty Marked. This episode is about a beauty pageant. There's a beauty pageant happening at the school, and it focuses on Sam because she thinks beauty pageants are dumb. Because they are. This episode really doubles down on Sam's whole I'm not like other girls persona, where most of the other girls in the school are kind of into the beauty pageant because they get to wear pretty dresses and act pretty and do very traditional, stereotypical girly things, and Sam thinks all of that is dumb because she's not like other girls, you see.
So while editing, I realized that I should maybe explain sort of what I mean by saying that Sam is not like other girls. The not like other girls character is sort of a trope of the type of girl or character that tries to distinguish themselves from the other more stereotypical girly girl type girls who like makeup and shopping and whatever. What's ironic about this trope is that it became so popular that it kind of became a stereotype unto itself. Sarah Zed did a really great video breaking down this whole trope and like sort of how it became popular and stuff. So definitely check out that video, link in the description. Danny ends up being selected as the main judge for this beauty pageant because he is the most average of any of the students. So that's kind of funny. And he immediately gets carried away with this newfound power over who gets to win the beauty pageant. All the female students are trying to impress Danny, and so him and Tucker take full advantage of this and end up going on a bunch of dates with a bunch of different girls so that they can have a chance to up their score in the upcoming beauty pageant, fully proving Sam's point of view that beauty pageants make girls act stupid and boys act even stupider. Sam enters the beauty pageant, ironically, to prove how stupid they are, much to the demise of the person who is organizing the beauty pageant, because Sam's not like other girls, you see. She reads books. Unlike other girls who don't know how to read, I guess. So quickly, the rest of the plot of this episode, Danny accidentally picks Sam as the winner for the beauty pageant when he finally realizes that the lady running it is a ghost. And then, oopsie doopsie, lady running the beauty pageant turns out to be that one medieval ghost who can turn into a dragon. The I want to go to the ball ghost from way earlier in the show. And the beauty pageant is a ruse designed to select a queen for the prince of the kingdom that the dragon lady is from, who's her brother, I guess. So Sam ends up getting picked for that. She gets kidnapped and taken to the ghost zone, where the ghost prince guy, I guess, wanted to pick the most traditionally feminine girl as his bride, I guess. The metaphor being that beauty pageants are dumb and archaic and push harmful standards for girls, stating that their beauty is the most valuable thing about them. You know, all that stuff, and how that's, you know, kind of backwards and archaic, and how it like puts women's rights back and all that kind of stuff. That's essentially the metaphor idea of this episode. Sam eventually breaks free from the ghost, from the bad ghost, because she proves how much not like other girls she is by being even more goth and even more, I guess, masculine, by like eating food really grossly and not acting polite and feminine. And then she manages to convince the female ghost that can turn into a dragon. What's her name? I should have wrote it down. I didn't. I think it's Dora. But the point is that she convinces her to not listen to her dumb brother, who can also turn into a dragon. And so she does. We get a big dragon fight, which is kind of cool. Danny's also in this fight, but I like that it's not really about him this episode, and it's more about Sam convincing this lady that women should have rights, I guess. But I like that it focuses more on that relationship rather than Danny just having to save the day as he normally does. Oh yeah, the Dragon Lady is also, I believe, played by a different actress this episode, as she does get a bigger role. Previous episode, I think it was just Gray who did it, but this time it's Suzanne Blakesley. This name,
who also voices Wanda from Fairly Odd Parents. I don't know. I thought that was interesting that she's got a different voice this time. Actually, I think it's a good idea since Gray already plays a lot of characters just in general, and so I like that we give someone else something to do in this one. Gives her a bit more of a distinct personality as well. But yeah, then the episode wraps up. Danny gets a very easy redemption where he's just kind of half-ass apologizes to Sam and they move on. And then they're like, yep, beauty pageants are dumb. The end. And it's like, okay. I think they could have done a little more with this episode, especially since it does clearly have something to say about gender politics and things that teenage girls value that can be potentially harmful to mental health and the way that like beauty pageants push these archaic standards for women on young girls. Obviously this episode is more kind of parody slash satire. It's not meant to be taken too seriously, but like it would have been kind of nice if like Paulina learned anything from this episode, which she really didn't, and arguably neither did Danny. He gets like one line where he's like, I should have realized that beauty pageants were bad or something. And it's like, no, wrong. Sam's been telling you that there's something wrong, and that there was a ghost involved the whole episode, and you didn't believe her until it was too late because you were too caught up in the whole spectacle of it all, being part of the problem by reinforcing all those gender stereotypes that beauty pageants are like built upon. So I think this episode should have had at least more of an epilogue where Danny's like, you're right, Sam, I got completely caught up in the thought of being popular and how I didn't really listen to you when you had legitimate concerns about a beauty pageant other than just they're dumb. But we don't really get that in this episode, which is too bad. And even in terms of just kind of like from a parody satire point of view, I think Parks and Rec does a slightly better version of this episode. April does the same thing where she enters the pageant ironically to kind of make fun of it from the inside.
I like people, places, and things.
Funnier and more interesting and has the same kinds of things to say, but is a funnier show.
No, I didn't win, but at least I didn't make any new friendships.
I think this episode is a very good attempt at trying to say something about gender politics and high school like popularity and how society pressures teenage girls to care about beauty and makeup and all these kinds of stereotypical things, but I don't think it executed it as well as it could have. It's still a fun episode. I do like that it's at least has like something to say, but almost because it is like trying to say something, I feel like it's easier to like judge it harshly because it is trying to have a more like mature message other than just something generic about friendship or whatever. But it is still a fun episode. I like that we get to see the Dragon Lady again and that they explore the lore of her backstory and where she comes from, and that there's other medieval style ghosts that I assume just been around since medieval times, which is kind of an interesting idea. There's a couple fun battles with Danny fighting some medieval ghosts, which I think are kind of fun. Sam and Danny and Tucker end up donning medieval style clothes at one point, and so we get a kind of fun medieval designs for the characters, which I think are kind of fun. And one of the battles Danny uses his copy ability, which is kind of cool because we see that he's becoming more comfortable with his new abilities and is able to use them more effectively, you know, just kind of as the series goes on. I always like that sense of progression. But yeah, I don't know, it's a fun episode, has something to say. It doesn't execute it as well as I think that it could, but at least it's trying something new while also building the world and characters. So gets a pass, I guess. About it, so we'll see you next time. Danny Phantom.